there. Okay, so here I am, and this is a wearable, right? I have a wearable, so I am just trying to publish it. It's already for review. So let's check it out directly and let's see. Let me take this over here. Okay, here we are. Let me open up my backpack. I don't know if any one of you is familiar. Oh, I think it closed my client because I opened this app. So I am not in Word at the moment. I will go back there once I show this up. But let's open up the backpack, and here I have. Why I don't see it? Give me 1 second. Let me just do this again because probably I messed it up. Give me 1 sec. So let's go back over here like this. Now there you go.
Grillo, is this a custom world server being loaded in the client?
Yes, but that's just for previewing whenever you create a wearable. This is the scenes you have as options to test it out, to see how it fits on your avatar, and that. But that's not exactly what I want to show. I want to show something that it's this is a completely spoiler. I mean, I'm glad every one of you is here, and I hope you are going to like this too. Let's wait just 1 second until this charges up. Okay, and what's the difference between these two helmets, right? We can see that we have this smart little thingy over here. So let's equip this up. It's already visible. Let's now it's visible. Let's close this up, and now you see that I have an amazing headlamp. So this is just to say that smart wearables are back. We can see that there is this UI on the bottom right corner that allows us to play around with our smart wearable. And we can see it over here much nicer, the effect. This is a very, very cool helmet that Nico did. A lot of claps and hacks for
It
Nico
was
for
basically
this.
vibe coding, and I did the model, by the way. That was who was this again?
CryptoCube is the creator of the
Sorry,
wearable.
help me out, Guido. Who did
Yes.
the model?
CryptoCube.
Yes, thanks.
Yes, CryptoCube is
Yeah,
the
very, very, very.
Are you hearing me well, or I am just lagging, or maybe it was you, Nico? I think it should be better already. Let me do this. 1 sec.
I occasionally hear like a second or two of silence, like there's cuts for me at least. Maybe.
No, I think it's on my end. Maybe now it's going to be better. Let me know if at any moment my audio cuts and you lose some info. As Nico was saying, the 3D modeler of the wearable is CryptoCube, an amazing creator. I was introduced to him by Mary Shark. Thank you very much, Mary, for that. And as you can see, I have a headlamp that is using, of course, our new lights feature. And that means that I am using a spotlight on my head, and there are some cool functionalities that I can do with the wearable itself. I can change the color, let's say. There you go. And I can change it, and I can also change the intensity of the light like that, or taking it up. I can change the color. I can turn off the light and turn it on. So as I said, this is still on review, but if you have smart wearables deployed, you should be able to test them out. We are not 100% there yet because there you can't test them out in the in local at the moment. That would be possible in the near future, but at least at that stage might be a little bit complicated to be troubleshooting any code issue that you might have with the smart wearable, because of course you need to maybe upload the collection and then test it in Word in order to see the behavior. So we are not 100% there, but smart wearables are back. And I know some creators that have some of them. They are already working amazingly in the desktop client. So yes, this is very good news. I hope you are all thrilled by this. And yes, this is something that was being cooked for the new music fest. So hopefully we are going to get there with this helmet available for some of us. And this, of course, is a spoiler alert for you that came and joined the office hours. So you know that when you come, you might have some hints of things that are happening, and there is not much info out there. So yes, this was a little bit what I wanted to show. And I don't know, I will close this up and open up again the client. Yes.
One second. JK is asking how this looks in first person. I'm actually curious. I don't think I tried it in first person.
Let's see.
Be interesting to see.
There you go.
Mm.
Oh, I took it away.
One detail about it is that it's attached to the avatar's head. So whenever the avatar moves the head, like you also see this like bobbing up and down effect, which was really nice because like even like when you're in third person and you look around, you see that the avatar's head follows where you're looking with a camera. So all of that like came just naturally out of the box by simply attaching the camera to the player's head, not having just at the player's position.
Let me just take the intensity higher.
Also, it helps to set the nighttime skybox, right? Because now
Yes.
you're in daytime. That's gonna also water it down quite a bit.
Yes. Unfortunately, let me see. Take it away. There you go. There you go. Much nicer. Thank you, Nico. You were right. And now you can see this is how you see it in first person. So
It's set to
there you can
green
see.
if you set it back.
Let's
There's a
set it.
button to either randomize the color or set it back to white. Yeah.
There you go. And now you can see that if I move my head and I move around, I can light whatever I am seeing, then in out from the player and outside over there. And as you can see, it moves around with my camera too. So this is using raycasting, Nico, too?
No, it's just using the light feature. I just
Okay, you're
added
right.
it's actually super simple. Just added a light entity, attached it to the player's head, and that was kind of it.
So yes, this is amazing. I love it. So we wanted, Nico and me thought it was a good idea to show it up today. So let me close this up and go back to the client. One sec. And I am not seeing my other screen. What is happening? It always like this, right? Like the Murphy law. Messing my setup again. So give me 1 second. There we go. Now we are there. I am just opening up the client to go back to inward in case other questions show up. Thank you, Nico, for sharing Shay's question. And yes, in the meanwhile, those that are here in Discord, anyone has any question? Or in Word, basically. I am already going in there. So whatever here we are. I am seeing. Let me turn down my volume out from the player. There we go. Okay. That was a little bit of these new things that are coming out. It's so hard to be updated with all the things that are going on. And last 2 office hours, we had Creator Hub releases 5 minutes before. So yeah, Nico comes with all the fresh info to all of us. So I hope you also like this kind of privilege you have for being in the office hours, guys. I wanted to show, I have been talking with some creators and some community leads about the fact of having gamified experiences in a scene that might not be necessarily a game, let's say. Let's say we have a scene that it's all about music and chilling together, right? And it's like a festival, let's say. There is no need to have a super complex gamified experience in order to make it fun. And even though this scene, I already showed it, and it's not a streaming, let's say, it's not a party venue, we could easily add a screen somewhere and be streaming over there, and at the same time have some gamification happening in the scene. Rage by Multi is a great example of this. We can go to Rage later today to check it out. You can come and check it. I think it's amazing what Multi did. The fact of integrating some game mechanics inside a scene or an event that not necessarily it's about gaming. And I think that this lighted up a light on me, at least, that Decentraland is so good at this kind of interactions and blending between a game and an event, and maybe the line starts to get blurry, right, between one and the other. And I think that's a huge advantage of all the features that have been developing in the Creator Hub and in the client itself. Having the super easy streaming feature, having our music in our scene and building our models, and then being able to use the Creator Hub UI in this case, all done with the UI, on how to create this kind of gamified experiences. During well, you might already remember the scene. This has some crystals that you can pick up, and I wanted to show something that came up during a brainstorm with a creator about what can be achieved using the Creator Hub if you are trying to build these gamification kind of experiences without the need of writing code, right? As Nico already showed with the headlamp, using bytecoding for creating This kind of things is great and it's amazing, but it can be daunting for people that are not used to it. And the Creator Hub also has a lot of power on the UI, especially lately, when a lot of things have been coming from the SDK to the Creator Hub UI, right? So let's imagine this was the approach and the logic behind what I was trying to build. Let's say that you have a dispenser in your scene, a wearable dispenser, an emote dispenser, or something else, a teleport, let's say. And maybe you really want people to mint it. You really want people to have your wearable, but maybe you are a little bit, let's say, funny, and you don't want to make their life so easy, right? If you just have a dispenser and you need to clap emote, let's say, or just click it, there is not much of a challenge there, right? We just need to click it. And something that can be achieved only with the UI, for example, is picking up items. And once we picked a certain amount of them, it can be based on whatever logic you want. But let's say you want to pick at least 3 or 4 items of one kind, these crystals in this case, in order to unblock that dispenser, in order to being able to click it directly. So we are going to go through that example in this case. We are going to have these crystals, these new ones. Only the first one has a functionality, as you can see, the other ones not yet. And you can see that this is another crystal, the same as this one, but red. So let's say that this red crystal had a specific functionality on it. It doesn't. Well, if I click it, it shows me this able to click message. But as you can see, there is a box down there, and if I want to click the crystal through it, I can't, right? It doesn't click. Let's make this cube a little bit bigger. So for that, we are going to go into our cube, and we are going to change the scale in the y-axis. So let's change the scale from 2 to 3, let's say, and that should be enough. Now I don't see the crystal anymore. I can't click it anymore. And you would say, okay, but this cube is so horrible. Yes, but I can go into the Creator Hub and take away that materialized, let's say that the correct, the formal name is the mesh renderer component over here, that any cube that you create or any other primitive type that you create in the Creator Hub will have by default. But it will still have the mesh collider, right? And the mesh collider is the one that doesn't allow to click something that is underneath, let's say, this box, inside this box. So let's take away the mesh renderer component. Now I can see the crystal again, the full one. But as you can see, I can't click it anymore. I can't click it. When I click it before, it showed me a message of able to click, right? And I don't have that functionality anymore. That's because there is a cube, and as you can see, I can't go even nearer the crystal because there is this cube, basically. This invisible cube, but it's a cube in itself, and it has a collider. The collider is what is not allowing me to click the red crystal. So what we are going to do is collect points using our crystals over here in order to take away the cube over there, the little cube, the cage, let's say, of the red crystal. Let's take it away in order for us to click the red crystal. So let's go to this one, the one that already has the functionality. We are going to go through the process now. But as you can see, I can click it. So let's click it once, let's click it twice, let's click it 3 times. and I'm still not able to do anything. Let's click it one more time. And now you see that I am able to click it again. I am able to click it, and I will see the able to click message. That's because that cube has a specific component on it that it's called a counter. A counter basically allows us to increase it, decrease it, and take decisions based on whatever the number of that counter is. Once that's done, of course, this is kind of cheating, right? Because I am clicking all the time the same crystal, but we are going to change that behavior in just a while. The idea is to have to show you an easy way of visualizing what I am trying to accomplish. The most important thing about this is both the counter component and also some trigger conditions that we are going to have in that cube in particular. So let's go to the Creator Hub. sorry guys, 1 second please. Okay. Let's go to our crystal, the first one. This is the one that already has the functionality of being able to click it, right? This one. So let's see what it has on it. We have our transform, we have the GLTF, all these things come by default with this particular asset. But then we have some things created, right? We have some triggers, mostly triggers. So yes, best to go to the cube first, because this is triggering all actions from the cube. If we go to our cube, we don't see it anymore, but there is a cube there. We don't see it because we took away the mesh renderer component. We have our transform, we have our material, we have our mesh collider, and then we see that we have some actions defined and some counter, let's say. This is the new thing. I think some months ago, like 3 or 4, something like that, we went to something similar, but probably some of you were not there, and it's never a bad idea to go over it again and trying to make a gamified experience from beginning to end. We are creating a counter component on the cube that is going to be set to 0, and the cube will have some actions on it too. Always remember that actions are things that can be triggered on that specific asset, that specific object, that entity. So we have a cube, and that cube will have some actions on it. The actions that I want to be sure that the cube has is the ability to increase the counter. Okay, yes, that's on the yes, that's true. That's on the okay. So let's go one by one. In order for the cube to allow us to click the red crystal behind underneath it, we are going to move the cube. We will need an action of moving the cube. It doesn't matter really when we are going to use that action, not yet, but we know that at some point, whenever some condition arrives, we are going to take that cube away. And when we take the cube away or we scale it down, there might be a lot of ways of doing the same. But in this case, we are going to take the cube away. We are going to move it to another position. And when I move it to another position, I will leave the red crystal, let's say, available for me to click it. So I will create an action that is called move, and it's going to have this, you can select an action. I am defining the name move just because it's something I want to do, but we could also create another one that is called move cube, let's say, and we are going to select an action, and this action is going to be position, set position, and I can choose all the 3 coordinates that I want to change. Relative means that I am going to change the x, the y, and the z axis based on the position that the cube already has. But it doesn't matter at this stage, and I won't toggle it. It's fine for me to change it to a global position. It doesn't need to be relative to the same position it is now. So I will just change it to another one. This is the same thing that I am doing over on the top, over here. I am just moving it on a place that I know nothing is there. That's the first action I need. Again, we don't need to define yet what is going to trigger that action, but we know that the cube will need that action at some point. We will need another action that it will be increasing our counter. At some point, we will want, whenever in this case we click the blue crystals, whenever I click these ones, I want to increase the counter of the cube. But since the counter component is on the cube, the action of increasing the counter is also defined on the cube. It's an action on the cube, then we will define how we trigger it. But at this stage, we want to, at least we know that we have an action that is going to be increasing a counter. So again, if we would do this from the beginning, I would choose another name. We could choose decrease counter, let's say, and this is another great option, and we can discuss it. But decrease counter, let's say. And here I can choose some things. And you already see some options regarding a counter component. And that's because the cube already has a counter component defined. If we don't define a counter component, and always remember that for creating a new component, we go to the right panel and we go to the plus button, and we have all these different components that I can add to that particular entity. But I just want to increase it or decrease it. And if just remember that if you don't see that option as an action, it's because probably you didn't define the counter on that specific entity. Maybe you defined it somewhere else and you need to do the increase counter or decrease counter action in whatever entity you have the counter component. If not, the creator hub won't know, and this is how game development works in general. It might be different in some places, but this is the way we are going to achieve it. So we can define and we can search for counter, let's say, and we see that we have 3 different actions that we can choose. We can increase it, we can decrease it, or we can set it to a fixed value. Let's say we want to decrease it, right? Hey there. So we can, I think someone has the mic open, no problem, but just in case. So we can define the amount of points, let's say, that the counter will move up or down. And this might be great in case you have different items in your scene. And maybe you have good items and bad items. And good items, of course, will make your counter increase. But if you choose maybe like Mario Bros, right? When you got the red mushroom instead of the green one instead of the red one, you lost, right? You lost a life, or you got smaller. Okay, in this case, we could do something similar and have some item that is not a good one, and whenever we click on it, we decrease our counter instead of increasing it. But in this case, we are just going to move with the increase counter component, increase counter action, and we are going to move it up in 1. And then finally, we have the hide set visibility. Well, this is not necessary anymore because it's already invisible. I was doing this before I took away the mesh renderer. So let's leave it just to show another action that can be achieved. And in this case, it's going to be hide. This set visibility component action is going to be available in any entity of your scene because any entity can be visible or invisible, or almost any, maybe not the admin tools on some smart items, but most of them can be. So a lot of actions are present in any entity, but others are only available whenever you have the right component defined on the entity. So I would just have a hide name, and we will set the visibility, and I can set the visibility to visible or invisible. We can then, if we have some time, we can play around and try to make it visible if we want, but it doesn't matter at this stage. The good point, the most important thing is remembering that the cube is going to move. The cube has the counter, so the action of increasing the counter, decreasing the counter, moving the cube, or scaling it, it's always defined on the cube. What we can do from other entities is triggering those actions of other entities. We can do that, and we will, but always remember, actions are linked to the specific entity that has them, but triggers can trigger actions from multiple entities, not necessarily themselves. Okay, so we have this couple of actions defined, and we have the counter, right? That's it, on the cube side at least. Then we have the red crystal, but that doesn't matter much. We can see it very quickly, but the red crystal, what it will do is have the action of, as you might already know, of showing a text when I click it. And that it's only for me to realize that I was able to take away the cube from it. Let me check in World. Hey everyone, hey AF Master. Nice to see you, everyone. Okay, so we are just having to, we are going to just have an action. Again, I am going to define an action that is going to be a showing text. I will put whatever message I want. I can choose the seconds it will stay on screen. I will choose the size, etc. This is linked directly to this specific action. But again, an action on its own is just an action. We need to trigger it. We need to trigger it in some way. So in this particular case, in the case of the red crystal, I click the red crystal and I get the show image from the red crystal. So the triggers and the actions are defined in the same entity, the same object. So now I can see that aside from action, I also have a trigger component. Again, go to the top, plus button, choose the component. And here we have a trigger event that can be triggered in many different ways, on spawn, on input action, when player enters an area or leaves it. But in this case, we just want an on-click. And here I can choose the entity I want to apply it to. If the triggers were only available on the same entity, I wouldn't have this to choose from. It would be always the same. It shouldn't be defined, but as I can trigger something somewhere else, I can choose this. And I can choose the red crystal, and since I define this action of showing text, I will have it as an option here on the red crystal. I will have a list of all the actions possible. So let's go back here and just create a dummy action. It can do whatever, and it can be set visibility, and it can be set visible to visible. It doesn't matter really. And now, if I go back here and I click to add another assigned action, I can see that I can choose from all the different entities that have actions defined. And in this case, I want to go to the red crystal again. And now I can choose show text or whatever action. Whatever action is the dummy one that I just created. So you can see that whenever you create an action, then you will have it available on the triggers, whenever you choose that entity. In this case, I don't want it. So let's just go to the three dots and delete it. And there we go. So now, whenever I have this click, I will be able to click it and I will show the text. Okay, that's let's say the happy path, whenever we have the action and whenever we have the trigger defined on the same entity. Let's go to the crystal that has defined the action that we need. So let's see what it has. Well, it doesn't have an action, right? Because this we can discuss later, like the action of hiding this this crystal and move it in a way so that I can click it twice, let's say, but it doesn't have an action yet. It just has a trigger, and that trigger, what will it do? Well, it will trigger the action of increasing the counter of the cube. So let's go to our triggers. And we can see that I have an on-click again, an on-click event that will trigger, again, we could take this away and do it again. So I will add, I will say, I will go to my cube, and I will select an action. And I want to do an increase counter action. So whenever I click it, I will increase the counter by 1 defined on the cube. Okay, that's one step. The second step is that I want to hide or move, and really it's moving the cube, I am moving it away in order to click it. And here we are going to get into another concept, that is the concept of trigger conditions, right? In this case, we want to always increase the counter whenever I click that crystal, but I don't always want to take away the cube. I just want to take away the cube in case the counter is greater than 2. Again, this is only visible here because the cube has a counter component. If not, I wouldn't see this option. Let's take it away. And you can see that I don't see anymore the trigger conditions. We can see that on an on-click, I will get the cube and I will move it. I can take this away. It's going to be easier that way. So whenever I click it, I will trigger the move action in the cube. Remember, the one that took the cube to 10, 10, 10. But okay, I don't want to do that in the first place, because if I go now to my scene and I click it, and now I go to this, I can click it just in one take, right? And I don't want that. I want to be able to collect some of the items before I do that. And for that, I need to define a trigger condition. So let's go to our triggers. And here on the 3 dots of the trigger event, I can click on it and I can see that I can remove the trigger event, which I won't, of course, and then I can add a trigger condition. I will do that. I will add a trigger condition, and I would say, okay, which entity I want to check something in. Okay, I want to check the cube because the cube has the counter component on it. And as you can see, it already tells me like counter equals as the first option. And because of the components that the cube has, I only have these things to check on the cube. I can check if the counter is greater than, less than, if the distance of the player is less or greater than a number, but I want to be playing with the counter. So let's say that the counter is greater than. I will choose 2, let's say. And now I can click it, of course, first time. And now I will go like this. I will click it once. I will take 1, my counter is in 1 at the moment. It checks if 1 is greater than 2, it's not. So if I go back to this, I can click it still. I can go back, click it again. Now it's going to be 2. But since I am checking the condition and it's greater than 2, not equal, let's click it again. So now the counter is in 3. And now I still can't play it. Why? Well, because in this on-click event, this with code is not easier, but it's like you can polish it a little bit better and make sure these kind of conditions are checked with a system, if you already know what that means. But if not, no worries. It didn't apply it because I increased the counter, but when it checked which counter value it had, it wasn't yet over there. But now, if I click it once again, and I go back to and now I can click it, right? I had to click it 4 times, and now that cube moved away, and now my red crystal is available. Okay, so that's a little bit of what I've done. What would be the next steps here? Okay, maybe replicating something similar in the cube, but with these crystals, right? Like I would, let's say, I will take away these two. Doesn't matter, they don't have any functionality on them, but I can go duplicate this a couple of times. Oops. There you go. And now I have three crystals that have the same functionality. Now I can see that I can click them, both, the three of them. All of them will increase the counter component. So if I go like this, now the last one, there we go, and now I'm able to click it again. All three of them are doing the same. What would be the next step here? Maybe to complete this simple gamified experience. It can be simple, but being simple doesn't mean it can't be fun, right? It's simple on how to implement it, let's say, or at least if you did it before. If it's the first time, maybe it's a little bit tricky at the beginning, but once you get all these concepts, you can say this is quite straightforward. Next step here, let's say to complete the experience, would be, okay, I don't want to be clicking all the time the same cube, right? The same crystal, right? I want to do it only once. So let's create another one, the last one, because we need 4 interactions. And now we can, okay, we are going to do this. It's going to be much easier. I will take all these 3 away, and we are going to define some stuff on this crystal in particular. I want to create an action that is going to hide the crystal. And I want to create an action that is going to move the crystal. This is for me, for once I click it, I can take it away somewhere else and the player won't be able to find it and won't be able to hack my gamified experience, let's say. So let's go back over here, and we just have a trigger, right? We need an action. We need an action of hiding and an action of moving. So let's go over here, define an action, and we will need to, let me check over here. Okay, hope AF Master, you are getting the sound in. And now you can add a couple of actions. Let's create a move action that is going to set the position, and I'm going to set the position in a relative scaling, and I will move this 90, or let's say 70 or whatever. 70 meters top, and that's it. It's enough with that. I need another action. Whoops. I need another action that will be hide. And this will be set visibility. I want to set the visibility. The crystal is already visible. I want to take it invisible. Okay. Okay, what happens now in the scene? Nothing, right? It's not hiding and it's not moving. I can click it many times and already have this available. What did it happen? Okay, I don't have any trigger defined. I am not triggering that action from anywhere. I need to trigger the move and hide in order to make the action happen. If not, it won't. Let's go back to the Creator Hub. And now we had a trigger condition, a trigger component defined, because I am already increasing the counter of the entity of the cube. So then I don't need to create a new trigger event, because I want to hide, move, and increase the counter in the same on-click action. Whenever I click at crystal, I want to hide it, I want to move it, and I want to increase the counter of the cube. So let's add more actions into this trigger. I can just go to the plus button over here, select the blue crystal. There we go. The blue crystal, which one was it? Let me see. My names are a little bit messy already. 3-4, that's fine. Please don't do it like this. Change the names. Yeah. So I am going to get the blue crystal, the 3-4, and I can choose hide or move. I want to do both. I want to move it, and I will create another action, the third one. And I will go to my blue crystal 3-4, and I will hide it. Let's go back to the scene. Sorry, guys, I have my throat a little bit really bad. Sorry. So now if I click it, it should work, right? There you go. I don't see it anymore. And what will happen now? Well, I won't be able to click this because I need my counter to go up to 4, and I can't, right? But the cube moved away. That crystal, not the cube, the crystal moved away, hid it, and increased the counter all in the same on-click action. It not only did all that, but it also checked if the counter component had certain value on it, and because it didn't match my criteria, the move, let's say the triggering of the move cube action didn't happen. So let's go back to the scene, and now that I have everything defined on this, and this is great advice, instead of creating maybe 100 coins and modify them all in case you are using coins instead of crystals, make sure you have one coin that is already fully functional, and then you can copy it a couple of times. So there you go. Now we have 4 or 5. It doesn't matter. Well, it will serve for the purpose. Let's go back to the scene. Now we have a lot of crystals over here. I click one, it goes away. I click the second one, it goes away. I go check the box. I don't yet be able to click it. I click the third one. I can't go click it. But any of these two will do the trick, right? Because now, whenever I click it, it will check my condition, it will match, and it will go away. I click it, I won't need that one, and now you can see that I can click the red crystal again. And now I see the message that I can click it. Imagine that there was a dispenser over there, for example. Now, only after getting all the crystals that I wanted the user to go through, I can mint my URL. And this could be many different stuff. You could have like clicking on an object that takes you to your social media, let's say. You want people to go check your social media before you get a point, let's say. It's going to be a little bit more clunky there because, of course, you can't verify that that person is going directly to your website, but at least you made them interact with your scene in order to get the whatever you plan on gifting. And this is just an easy way of gamifying your experience. This is what I wanted to show. As I said, this is all done through the UI, and of course that with systems and code, you can get much more complex on it. And the idea is trying to use this scene as a base for kind of a game. One thing that I will add also is a streaming screen, just to get the impression and to make it clear that you can have an event happening with music and stuff, but at the same time, in the same scene, you can have gamified experiences all built through the UI and without the need of code. Again, probably I will take this and we can vibe code a little bit on it and make this gamified experience a little bit more complex. And for that, I would love to know what you would like to see in this kind of gamified experiences. What do you think that could be good for attracting your audience? Hey, I want to make my events, I don't know, my events are quite good, but I am thinking that I could even do it here in the office hours, right? And have some things and, I don't know, trigger whatever, maybe not a whirlwind, but triggering some fireworks or some things like that. That it can be very funny to interact and for other players to see and etc. But this was just an example, of course. This is just to give some little thing that you can build in not so long, and also engage, make your people more happy in your scene, and hopefully take them a smile and having a good time. So let me check over here the chat. But yes, I already asked in World if someone has any question, and here on Discord if anyone wants to jump in. Also, you can open up the mic or share in the chat. I was saying that hopefully, beginning next year, we are going to move the office hours completely in Word, leaving other platforms behind. Because with all the features that have been launched this year, at least for me, it feels a little bit redundant. I know that I haven't been streaming this to X as I did a couple of weeks ago, and hopefully that stream on X can, let's say, provide that experience for those of you that can't join in Word. But if you want to ask questions or participate, we are going to be doing voice chats in Word in the Office Hours community, and also as a as a friend of mine that has a lot of experience, the in-world chat will be my god from now on. So I hope you learned something. And open time if you want, if anyone wants to jump in.
Hey, doctor.
Hey there.
Hi, it's Alan. Can I ask a question about the video screen?
Yes.
Okay, I was wondering, is it possible to somehow isolate the audio coming from the video screen to only a certain part of a building or a scene? So the example would be I've put a video screen on the rooftop, and so if people get to the rooftop, I'd like them to be able to hear the video or the audio, but not in the rest of the building.
There you go, Nico. Yes, take it.
Sorry. There's a couple of things you can do there. In fact, one of the features that we'll be shortly adding is the possibility to mark both a video or an audio stream to be spatial. So, there's audios which they originate from a point in space, and there's audios that are global. In all the audio streams and video streams have global sound, meaning they sound at the same volume wherever you're standing in the scene. But with this, we'll be able to allow you to set a specific video or audio stream to instead be spatial, so that it gets lower in volume the further you go away from that point. That's something that we are planning to add in the next couple of weeks. But beyond that, today one thing you can do is either use a trigger area, and with the trigger area, you can interact with the video screen. And I'm not entirely sure if there is an action that allows you to change the volume of a video. Let me check that quick, because to be honest, I can't recall if that exists or not. There's definitely an action to stop and replay a video, and that could work. But if you want to just mute it, to be honest, I don't know if we have that.
Okay. I'll poke around a bit more. Yeah, I was thinking a trigger area, some sort of trigger could allow the audio to be heard. So it maybe, yeah. It would be really nice to isolate it to a certain spot. Yeah.
Right. Well, in fact, if you take the play video action has a volume, so you could, I'm guessing you could, like, even if the video is already playing, if you play the play video action on it with a volume that is 0, you could, I imagine that should overwrite, the current volume. You can then play it again whenever you enter the trigger area again. Like
Okay.
you could map these to the on enter and the on leave of the trigger area. When you enter, then the volume gets set back to 100, and when you leave, the volume gets set back to 0.
Okay.
I believe that should work.
I
You
see
should
what you're
test it.
saying. Okay. So maybe there's a way, so like let's say the avatar spawns onto the scene or enters the scene, and upon them entering the scene, the volume goes down to 0. And then a
Or that
trigger
could be by
effect.
default.
Pardon?
Like, You could set 0 to be like the default of the video, and when you enter the area, it switches to
Perfect.
100.
I think I understand what you're saying. I will give that a shot. I think I'll play around with that. That's great. Okay. Good to know.
And
Okay.
now the thing I want. So are you doing this with a video stream or a pre-recorded video? Because the play
Well,
video action URL.
mhm.
So if you're using a URL that I'm sure would work. If you're instead using streaming, then I mean the stream does come from a URL, but that URL is probably not so obvious if you want to use it through the UI.
Okay. So yeah, I see what you're saying. So what you're suggesting might be a bit more complicated if I'm live streaming rather than playing a M308 URL. Is that right?
Apologies if there's a lot of background sound. It's raining very heavily here.
Oh, no worries.
Same over here. Oh, you're very near to me, Nico. The sky is falling.
Oh no.
Sorry, Bruno.
Well,
What was it?
at least
Yes.
it's raining and not snowing.
It's raining like
tell you
crazy
that.
over here too.
Okay. Okay. Well, here then I will get out of your hair. I appreciate what you're saying, Nico, and I'll give it a shot and see if I can make it work. Thank you.
Nice. Let me know how that works.
Okay. Thank you everyone for joining. If anyone has any other question, it's the right moment, and if not, we can wrap it up. I am not sure, AF Master, about that. If you have the code of the smart world, we can see why it's not working. If it's something related with the code itself, it needs to be updated. But yeah, if it's not working, should be that. Or maybe you have the old client. Make sure you have this Alpha Explorer. Make
So yeah, by the way, we're aware that a number of smart variables need some fixing. In some cases, these are fixes that should happen, like from the content side. In the case of VATV, for example, I believe that like the streams need to be reset. It's probably trying to fetch stuff from servers that are no longer operational. That's at least my guess.
Yes, AF Master
And
is pointing out a shoe that allowed you to jump higher. That's the one he has, and that is not working.
yeah, I in fact have that shoe too. It sort of works, kind of unreliably. Not exactly sure why it doesn't, always respond to your key presses. Um, it does do something that I always considered a bit of a hack, which is like it lets you jump high by creating an invisible platform below your feet and just raising you, which is something that is likely to not be all that smooth, and maybe that is somehow why. Maybe like if you're moving too fast, like the platform just doesn't get to properly appear under your feet or something. Stay tuned for a feature that we're working on, which in the very near future will let you actually properly jump high. Um, that's something that we plan to release in a couple of weeks. With that, you could do like shoes that actually let you jump high or run fast without the hack of a floating platform.
Okay, it was using a floating platform. Okay, it makes sense. So, yes, probably it's a great idea for a smart world also. And super excited for those features to go out. So yep. Once again, thank you everyone for joining us, both in world and outside. I hope you learned something. I know that we have been focusing a little bit in the UI. The idea is highlighting all this kind of stuff that you can do before writing code, and we are going to build up on it. And as I said, your feedback is super useful for us to make this more engaging and try to talk about stuff that you think it's useful for your scenes. I wanted to show this in particular because of a conversation I had that I know that maybe gamified experience might be complicated at the beginning, but as I showed, or hopefully I could show today, there are many things that can be done quite easily, or at least in a straightforward way, only using UI. So thank you everyone for joining. I hope you learned something. I hope you had fun. Yeah, have a great rest of the day.